the university level, that it's more of an open conversation. Students seem aware of the resources that they have access to. But at the high school level, I can't say that that's the case, because I know we have a school-based health center at our school with mental health counseling and a school psychiatrist, and most students, I would say, do not know how to access those resources. And I'm from an organization called Oregon Student Voice, and we have done a statewide survey with one of the questions around mental health and accessing the resources. So Hadley has some data about how students are feeling about that.
So 40% of the students who took the survey, and the survey was all around the state, said that the access to mental health in sources in schools is their number one priority.
Wow.
But 50% said they can access mental health resources, but the 23% said they disagreed, and 27% didn't even know if they were available at their own schools.
Wow. Okay.
So it's a 50-50
part of it's a
thing.
communication, education issue. So I always think it's better for folks who are in the schools to talk about what you would do to educate your fellow students. What do you have any advice? What would you be encouraging in terms of schools to do to make sure that students are better aware about mental health services?
Well, at our school, we have an advisory period, which is a smaller classroom that's kind of focused on, school dynamics and getting logistical information out to students. And it hasn't been mentioned in my advisory class from freshman to senior year. So I think that starting freshman year, day one, making sure that students are aware of the opportunities available to them in their school would be something that I would suggest.
I feel like it comes from students talking to students. Because if a teacher tells you that there's counseling, it's a lot less appealing than if my grace over here says, I got a lot of help from my counselor, you should check it out. I'm way more likely to take that advice.
Mm-hmm.
I think implementing that class everywhere, the advisory class,
Yes.
I've never heard of that.
I think additionally using that as a tool to destigmatize mental health issues and making sure that everyone can get to it without feeling like it's a pressure.
So how do you, who would you two talk to get your advisory classes to be talking about what's the availability? Do you go to your principal?
Yes.
Mhm.
Our
Okay.
assistant principal and student council advisor.
Great.
Make it happen.
Fabulous.
At the university, we also have a student board that works with the counseling center, and they get involved with different campus groups to visit events or meetings and talk about mental health services on campus.
And no PPS schools have a homeroom or any advisory class like you spoke of.
Oh my gosh, okay, all right. You certainly know how to change that, don't you? Tell me what you've learned these last couple of weeks. What have been lessons for you?
I think I've learned a lot, I've learned a lot about our generation, and the fact that lots of people think of us as like the teacup generation or the I generation, that people, we don't really care about what's going on, but I think
Teacup? I know.
Yeah, I mean like fragile. And
Okay.
but I think that we've proved in the past few weeks how motivated and how influential we can be, and that our voice can be heard, and that we really can make a difference, and that I think you saw in Parkland, you saw those high school students go out to the Florida legislature and be sitting there and protesting and shouting. Sadly, like that bill actually didn't pass,
it's
which
awful.
is crazy.
Yes.
And people are in DC now, and it's like really pushed it to the national level, and it's become a real national issue. I think I've just learned that we aren't who everybody thinks we are, and that we really can make a difference.
That's great.
Time for closing statements.
Okay.
I just wanted to say really quickly that I'm one of the founders of the Student Demand Action Group on campus. And,
Oh, fabulous! Yay!
and one of the most disheartening things you can do on a university campus is try to table for your club, because people will make up an excuse not to talk to you. But when we tabled our first 2 times, people approached us. And we received a lot of signatures, and that
Wow.
yeah, campus apathy is a problem, but it wasn't on this issue.
That's great.
I just want to say
Go ahead, Heather.
So I've learned that there's a lot of hope, I think, in the future. Tualatin had a vigil where hundreds of people, not just Tualatin community members, but a lot of people around nearby cities came as well. And our admin has actually accepted the March 14th walkout, in that we're going to have it in our field, and there's going to be a countdown on the scoreboard. And so I think that having all this community come together is really inspiring.
That's great.
I don't know.